Hello. That's a bit loud for me. Turn this down. Yeah, thank you for joining in. A minute early, I'm sure you don't mind. Yeah, but yeah, no Jack today is off to download first of all. Might move this over a bit better. I'm a bit close on it, but I'm sure I'll make do. Yeah, all alone in the office today. No Jack, no Rob, so it's left to me to do the streaming. I am not liking how this camera is sitting. Give me a second. That's easier. There we go. But yeah, Noah asked for it last week, and his dreams come true this week, where I am going to be doing WooLoop Levels, just because that's what I'm working on anyway. So ties in nicely with Jack not being here. Still feel like, yeah, there we go. That's nice. Yeah, the music DLC is next on the to-do list for WooLoop. It's just what's been selected by the community, so that's what we're working on. I've already made 2 levels as well. I'll give you a quick sneak peek over here in the editor. Yeah, I'll do editing. We can have a look. Made a microphone just because I quite like the look of it. Come on, just take a little minute. Hopefully it doesn't take this long for them. So yeah, we have let's hide the trace, and there's the level. It looks a bit different, looks considerably different in editor. You don't see the nice rope texture and stuff. That's for performance while sort of moving stuff around. And I already know from when this gets tested, this up in the top right here, it's going to be pushed back regarding the fact that these aren't perfect. But it was a pain trying to get them to line up nicely with the circle tool as well. But I did like the colours. I like the way the level plays. We'll show more of those. And then I made this level yesterday as well. And this is just very simple music notes level. And the idea of this one, it's quite square, and the bold lines, smaller level, means I can create some store page assets. Let me show you those. Little sneak peek as well. I made these yesterday, localized them all. Yeah, you got a letter from the council there, Rob, from Get to Council. And yeah, there's a store page asset using the notes. I think it fits quite nicely. We always try to make one that is of that resolution, just so it fits nicely into the store page, because if it's a different scale, like 6 by 9, 16 by 9 or something, then it doesn't quite fit or look quite as good. So yeah, that's sent off today, and we'll just carry on making them. So I've got 3 more down here. You'll notice I've already been setting up the basis for them. I haven't started actually making the levels there yet. I think we'll start with this one. This will be the most interesting to watch, I feel like. I'll open up on this side. And a little bit of a cheat, I did get AI to generate this image but it is forgivable, I think, because if you look on the frame size, there's a bit of trial and error setting up the level to make sure we've got the sizing right. But yeah, this is a Rick Astley level. I'm not going to do the text because that won't localize, but I'm going to do the shape, the very iconic shape of Rick Astley dancing by his microphone. So we'll start this with a Rick roll. But yeah, as I said, a bit of trial and error in regards to actually starting the level creation. As I'm moving, I think I'm just too close to the camera, but the more I move, the more I don't like when I'm situated on the thing. There we go, whatever. But yeah, bit of trial and error. I put a pin down. This is going to be far too small of a scale to get the details. Like, fair enough, it works for his face. If we go down to his hands, I think it's just a little bit too small. So we'll upscale that a little bit. So over on the right here, we've got editor scale. That's the size of the picture we're tracing over, and then the frame size. This is the, as I say, it's the size of the frame that goes around the picture. Let me know if the audio's alright as well. The music's loud in my headphone. I can turn that down for myself, but hope it's not too quiet or too loud for you, along with the microphone. I can adjust it on the fly. Yeah, I like to pick the smallest, most intricate part of the image, but I think it's going to be where his mic meets the face. And that looks alright. Try, like, say, the stripes on his jacket. Yeah, plenty of space, and his hands. Hands are notorious for being tricky. I think we've got a good scale. So we'll get the frames fine for now. We'll fix it as we go along later. But yeah, Noah was interested in seeing how the actual level creation works, how the actual, behind the scenes of WooLoop works, and this is sort of it. So we have a image, so often drawn by Jack, or we use royalty-free stuff. Like I've got Ode to Joy music sheet down there. That's public domain. We're using that for making a level, and then we put it into the game as a trace, as it says there. It's a trace of the image, and we go over it, putting down pins at points where we think it will be necessary to have them. So I could put a pin here and a pin here, but then that means the shoulder might be at risk of not being straight. But then when it comes to the curve, the more pins we have, the more detail we can put into the curve instead of it being just a sharp angle. And again, we have a bit of this one being a person's arm and not something that's needing to be perfectly straight. We don't need to worry about the lines not being perfect, but yeah, it changes per image on how much detail or how straight all the lines need to be. And we can always delete pins. It's much easier to remove pins later down the line than it is to add more in, because adding more in means you're going to have to redo the route that the pins go through. But if you want to remove pins, then it's just as simple as right-clicking the pin and it goes away, and that updates the route as well. So unless the route is like doubling back on itself, that's generally not going to cause any problems either. So it's always better to put more pins in than not enough. And I am sort of eyeballing the behind the words, because again, we're not putting the words in. But yeah, any questions regarding the actual process of what I'm doing, let me know. Happy to answer them. I'm sure I'll skip over some bits. And we've added more and more tools as we go along, so now you can see it's sort of like jumping. If you look closely, if you turn this number up, you'll see it a bit better. There you go. And that's because we added grid snapping, and that just allows for getting pins perfectly lined up. That's what I'm doing here. I've got the grid up here set by 1 by 1, so it's a small grid, but it's there, so each thing has like so many jumps. And the idea there is I want this bottom of the picture to be perfectly straight, so it has a cut-off point that doesn't look too weird. I think that'll be, other than the microphone stand maybe, because it's straight as well. Yeah, I don't think we'll be using the grid snapping anymore, other than the bottom of the picture and the microphone. But some of the other levels I have on the to-do list down there, we'll be using the other tools quite heavily. We have just focusing on getting these pins in the right spot. Now actually, more pins needed here, because they need to be in line with the lines. Okay. it does require a little bit of focusing. Not much, but just enough to make me not be able to talk. Yeah, the level creation hasn't changed much at all, to be fair. I'm trying to think if there is any major changes. I'm going to move this a little bit because my chin's getting cut off. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any large changes that have happened to the actual process. I don't think there's any new tools. I think the tools are all the same. We have a grid. We can create a grid of pins or a circle, perfect circle. There might be some changes that I've just totally forgotten about because it's just sort of like expected now. Like I'm just so used to using it. But yeah, it's pretty similar. If you've seen it before, really don't think much has changed. You're right. But it's quite nice in the sense that it's quite different to our other games. I guess it's similar enough for Jack with his pixel art, but it's quite creative, you know, as opposed to when I was making Hexseed levels. That wasn't really a creative process. Very logical, more than creative. But this is just it's creative as well as very relaxing, which is kind of what the entire game's meant to be. So in that sense, it works really well. Got some nice curves here. Using the grid tool, you can get perfect matching curves, which is what I've just done there at the top. So I think, do I want to do the inner part of this microphone as a separate route? No, I'm thinking I won't because it's not quite enough space and I don't think it's necessary, but we'll get into it a bit more detail later with it. But you can, when we're adding the ropes, we can do different colour on the inside as well as the outside. Oops, not that one. Getting absolutely fixated on getting this camera's position right, but the problem is I'm not sitting perfectly still, I'm moving around. It'll be better once we've got the streaming room set up, because then the camera will be set up ideally perfectly for the position of the chair and desk. But I spent a good 5-10 minutes trying to find the webcam, because Jack stole it last time when he was doing the colouring pixels like desk thing. I had my camera spit at his desk and I couldn't find it, so I've nicked his camera. But that also means we're a camera down. But I spent ages wandering around trying to find it this morning. That's just why everything's sort of just like a bit ad hoc in terms of stream setup today. Yeah, so that's what I was just discussing. I was debating doing a second set of pins. But what I might do instead, when it comes to doing the routes, I might just do a separate route on the inside that's dark grey, than the outside route being the light grey. See how that works. Same with these hair up at the top here. I'll try and do the ginger on the top side of the pins and then the skin tone on the underside of the pins. It's just that when you're creating these levels, there are various ways to sort of get the same effect, or you know, different style choices make the level look different as well. So one thing we noticed early on in development is that it's best to have multiple people making levels if we have the time to sort of devote to it, because we can then ensure that the style of each level is a bit different, because it's very easy to fall into your own habits when making the levels. But if you have more than one player making the levels, then those different styles are more prominent. So now that I'm the person making most of the levels, I try to keep that in mind, and I try to change up the actual general style and how the game's playing. Yeah, that pin there. You can always adjust the pin positioning later down the line as well, so it doesn't need to be perfect right now. Obviously, the better it is now, the less work you have to fix later. See, he's got a belt hidden under these words. I'll put the belt in. Because now I need to guess how many more. Maybe easier to turn this off. I need to guess where his jacket goes for these stripes. Stripe, stripe, stripe. I might fix it later. We'll see how it goes on. Hand hasn't got much detail in. Try and get his thumb shape. As well as his hand shape. do a finger at a time so I don't get lost. You have little finger, ring finger, middle finger, and there we go. And a little line here for the index. See how that works. Again, just like drawing in WooLoop as well, and hands are notoriously quite difficult to get right. Need extra pins here to get this bit of a nicer curve. I do feel like I've been getting a bit better at making hands recently, but it's sort of just cutting corners instead of adding extra detail. Do smaller, like less is more in that sort of sense. And this is going to be quite a small level because I've just realized I've done all the pins. So we'll get straight on with the root creation. So I'll show the microphone first, just because you're already asking about it. But yeah, if you've played the game, you're already aware, right? You pick a colour, you pick the rope thickness, it goes up to 0.5. I don't know why 0.5 is the number, but that's just, you can see the little graphic above getting thicker and thinner. With smaller levels, the root thickness quite matters much more because you can see the difference much easier. The larger the level gets, the less you see the changes in that thickness, unless you go really thin. We tend to not go below 0.2. We do, on a rare occasion, go below 0.2, but anything too small just becomes difficult to see. But yeah, so a big 0.5 for now, just so we can see it a little easier. Height as well, that depends on like what rope is layered above each other on the actual, when you're playing the level. That matters as well to make sure that the microphone is over the top of your shirt, etc. So yeah, I'll quickly throw in this root here. So when we click, I'll turn this off so we can see. You can see down over here, it's only putting clockwise. Left click is clockwise, right click is counterclockwise. And you need to like just, you do get a bit of visual in the editor. You can see what side of the pin it's on. Right, if we go back up, it's on the other side. But you just need to like be conscious about what side of the pin is going to be on if you're going clockwise or counterclockwise around the said pin. And then my idea here, I'll delete these ropes so I'll do it properly in a bit. But my idea here will be, I will pick the darker colour and make it even darker, so it stands out there. And then I'll have that going back the other way. So then we'll have 20p in the level, you'll have the dark grey on the inside and the light grey on the outside. And I could even do some, you know, I wouldn't do it like this, but a bit of texture to fill it in maybe. You know, we'll work it out and we'll get there. But yeah, I'll just delete these roots for now. I'll actually create the level as intended. So one thing when it comes to starting the roots, or when you're making any of the roots, is we like to think about two things. So one is the actual end of level animation you get, because it does play in the order that you played the level. As the player, you can change it how you like, but most people are going to play from start to end in order because it's just a bit more simple. So we need to think about how the animation is going to look at the very end. But more importantly, we want to look at or think about how the game feels for the player. So we don't want you to be finishing roots down here on the bottom left and then jumping to the next root over here on the far right, and then jumping up to the top. You know, we want the jumping in the camera motion to be as minimal as possible, unless something else requires you to change that rule. So yeah, we'll start, I guess, down the bottom left, just with the thought process of how we're going to do it. Maybe build up on the bottom, finish with his head, make it that's obvious as, you know, getting rickrolled at the very end. And I'm saying starting at the bottom, but I do want to double root a lot of these pins as well, because first off, it's a smaller level, there's not as many pins, so to increase the size of the level, we'll go over all the pins twice, and as well as that will work with the fact that we have the microphone and the hair where I want to have colours on each side of the root. So with it being a double root going back on itself, it will likely end where I start. I'll set 0.35 as the width, so I'll start up here by his hand. I was thinking, where would his... I'm going to record just a minute. There we go. Do you think where would his sleeve touch his hand? Might do from here. But I'll do a quick root here, just back and forth on itself. So you can see, you can't see the colour on top of the colour. So you can turn off the top while you need to. Then we'll do a next root, which will be lower down. And we'll start here. So this one will go around the outside of the hand, and then we'll add that back in Not that far. The other side of that rope will be the skin tone when we get to that point. So yeah, now we just continue going pin by pin. Keep in mind if you're left clicking or right clicking, we are right clicking for most of these because it's anti-clockwise. And if you're looking at the editor, you might notice one or two additional things as well. So up in the top right up here, there's a couple of stats. So number of pins, that's just a figure for, again, how many pins you got on the route. I might add one more just to make an extra number. It doesn't make much difference. Where can I put a pin in? I'll put one here and add it into the route. Wouldn't normally do that, but just going to point out to you guys, I saw that there was a nice round number potential. And then you've got two more stats, which is nothing back from Mr. Warhammer yet, Rob. Nothing at all. Only had emails from Nintendo and the BIFC, which I forgot to send a picture of my passport to myself, so I haven't been able to respond to that. I have to on Monday, unfortunately. But we've got until the 25th to reply to those, but I want to do it sooner rather than later. But yeah, nothing from Mr. Warhammer yet, unfortunately, so I might chase them up on Monday if I haven't heard anything from them then. Because he might be off work, right? Might have a holiday or something, so. Yeah, back to WooLoop here. So up in the top right, we have the extra small level, and that's determined by how many steps there are. I'll do from there if I want to do a right click. That's determined by how many steps are in the level. So the more we add routes in, the larger that level count's going to go up from extra small. And that's just to keep track. There's no issue with having an extra small level. One of my favorite levels in the game is that rocket level that you start with at the very beginning. Just because how simple it gets the entire message across. It's really quite effective. So, oh no. Well, here's an example when you make a mistake. So, in reality, this would be easier just to actually delete the route and start again. But we have this little up and down tool, which isn't perfect, but it does do the job. It's just a case of moving the pin in the order. So that pin at the very beginning, I'm moving to the start, and that's because I missed that pin there. Maybe there's no issue having extra small levels, but we do like to have a variety. We want to have extra small to large levels. We try not to go into the extra large area where I think it's about 3,000 steps, 2,000 steps. It's quite a lot. Cool, keep this recording going. And so yeah, it's more to monitor that we don't go too high, but it's also a way to get the statistic of how we're doing compared to small and large levels in a given DLC. So keep an eye where this one goes. I think the previous two were both in the small category, so we will need to do some bigger ones later on to make up for that. But for now, it's fine. We can keep going with the with this level. And yeah, the other thing you might have noticed is the counterclockwise and clockwise start there as well. Generally speaking, we like to keep. You should have a bit of a. Should be a pin up here. Good in there. Now that that arm's in, it looks weird that there's no shoulder armpit. So I'm going to add another route, which goes above my 150 pins. We'll delete this one again. There we go. Yeah, so when you create a route, so you pick your color, you press record route, and that's how the editor now knows that I'm wanting to click on pins. So if I don't press record route, clicking on the pins doesn't do anything. We can't interact them. And the reason for that is sometimes if you click on something, you might accidentally remove it. So these two buttons up on the top right, the record route and manage pins, allow you to interact with those pins in separate ways. So manage pins, as it says, allows you to now start clicking or dragging or removing pins, or adding pins. And then you stop, you turn that back off. And then when you have a route selected, pressing record route, lets the editor know you now want to interact with those pins to add a route to it. So I've got my color selected, I've got the height and the route selected, and then I record my route. So now I've added those lines in. I'll do it without the trace so you can see what I'm doing. You know, adding the lines in by recording the route, and then I press end recording to let the editor know that I'm no longer wanting to interact with those pins full of route. So that's all that does. These two buttons here let the editor know how I want to interact with the pins. That leaves nicely up here, because I was going to run from the hand down to the bottom, but this actually fits nicely to jump over to this bit. Every time you create a new route as well, it saves the information from the previous route, so the size and the colour stay the same, which is very important because, as a matter of fact, I should check this hex code. Every time you eyedrop, you might select a slightly different hex code. Not in this instance, though. That's fine. But if you're continuing creating the jacket, for example, then you need to keep the colour the same. It doesn't remember the height. The height always goes back to the default, just because that can chop and change with the same colour. So in this instance, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, a little bit lower, just so the collar can go over the top. And then I'll remember to make the shirt a different color as well. So this will, I'm in two minds of, do I have the white on the inside? But you wouldn't, that would make it look like the jacket and the white or like side by side and not underneath, potentially. So I'll keep the jacket separate like that, and then maybe the stripes I'll do top and bottom white and whatever colour this is. I mean, let's have a look. How accurate is this colour? I mean, the quality is atrocious. It's pretty much black stripes, isn't it? Look at this dude. Same guy, just older. So I was thinking that colour of the stripe didn't look quite right, but I guess it's just a different shade of black, right? This pin. So this pin isn't quite right, but it's because you'll notice that if you put pins side by side, they go red. And that's just as a warning to you for creating the levels that you don't want the pins too close to each other, because the players need to get past. And if the pins are touching, then it physically stops you playing the game. So there is a consideration to be made regarding pins being too close together, as well as too far apart, to be fair, because the camera has to move quite some distance. So the problem I'm having here is, what are there? We have stripes on the jacket. I'll put it there, actually, that makes sense. But the gap between the stripe and the jacket and the microphone stand is quite small, so we have to make some consideration of moving those pins across from each other. And now we need to make a decision as well in the fact that this particular route, turn that off so I don't actually do something. This route finishes up here at the top with the blue ones being highlighted. So I can either A, jump across to the right side of the jacket and we'll go down and back up, but we'll still be finishing at the top here. And then we need to finish the bottom part of the jacket as well. So we need to make a decision of, will it be the camera jumping that you want to think about, or is it the actual animation of the end level? Because this last bit of the jacket is not going to fit in with the animation if we go somewhere else and come back to it. So I'm thinking putting the animation first. I will go ahead and do the bottom part of the jacket next. Just because, again, that will look a bit nicer, I think, for the end animation. Yes, it does mean the camera's going to jump from the top of your jacket to here, which isn't ideal. Then again, I've just done this route, which then jumped up here. Flip side, I could jump down there. I think I'll do that. Let me double check. Yes. So yeah, I think I'll redo this entire route, and I could reposition all the pins. When you're doing a full route, it's quicker to just go ahead and delete them all and do it again. So yeah, I'll flip this route upside down. I think that's one of the things I would have normally just continued with the development and kept going, but because I'm talking to you guys about what I'm doing, it's made me think about it a bit more. So we'll be happy that you won't have to push that back. There we go, found a solution. Yeah, we'll have a look at Rock Game. Yeah, it's better than my other idea. I've got the PowerPoint open still. I was going to show you guys that because I've already talked to myself like 3 times, but how boring was that going to be, watching a guy do a PowerPoint? For context there, if anyone else in the chat, Rob has strung on me into doing a presentation on Monday to other game devs and people in the industry, because a slot opened up to an event we're going to, and the guy we talked to regarding it was like, "Do you want to do it?" So I've had, what was it, 3 days to prepare for an entire 10-minute presentation to people I don't know. So hopefully that goes nicely. But I've been talking to myself in the office today, practicing this presentation over and over. Instead of doubling back on itself from the front jack of each route. Could do that as well. It just means you then creating more routes, which again isn't an issue because it adds more customization for anyone who wants a new game plus. But again, that's what I was saying before regarding the fact that different people have different styles of making levels. That's something we should probably do for 1 or 2 levels, just to change it up. I don't want every level to be the same, you know. So I think I'd continue with the jacket in hand. I think I will do just for the animation. But I'm thinking, whilst we're down here, do I just do the belt and stuff? I could do the belt, then work up the lines, and then do his arm. But if I have to do the jacket, it would look nicer for the animation. So I'm going to go with that. Again, I'm going to jump up to here just because I'm thinking about the next route. I don't want to have to jump from the bottom too much. Ooh, is this going to work? Ooh, no, it's not. That's fine. We'll do an additional route instead of adding more. So what I'm getting at here is we need a couple of... I don't want that being a single route though. No. This is where it gets a bit complicated in some extra things to think about when you're starting routes. If you want a route that double backs on itself but doesn't go all the way, for example this bit of sleeve, then we need to either start or end with that pin. Otherwise it's just physically, like, mathematically not possible. So that sometimes affects the level design as well. It's just those considerations, because again, you saw the 2 options there. I could have made it so it was a separate route entirely, but I feel that doesn't feel the same as the rest of this level so far, because I haven't done that at any other part of these levels. So yeah, instead of colour picking as well, I'm going to do the hex code copying for the new route for his hand. Hands are 0.4 just to make him a bit thicker and stand out better. This one needs to... We'll start on the same point, but we can go this way. Will this work? I think so. And I can't see what I'm doing through the colours, so I'm trusting in myself to not miss a pin. And then we'll do that. That finger looks weird already. Okay. I think as far as hands go, this isn't the worst I've done. Can wiggle some of these pins to make it look a little less weird. Not keen on these pins. It isn't too bad. Yeah, faces in general. That's why I'm quite glad this one doesn't have a face. If it's just a random face that isn't like a recognizable person, you can sometimes get away with it. But if it's a face that people know what the face should look like, then it's quite tricky. I think I managed it with Katy Perry in that one level in this space pack, but I was a bit lucky, to be fair. I think the scaling helps as well. That was quite a zoomed in picture of a face as opposed to a smaller scale, because with a smaller scale with these like straight jagged lines. It's a bit beyond my skill set, I think, to put it lightly. I can put that over to the bottom because everything this route interacts with is underneath what it's touching. So it's lower than the hand, and it'll be lower than the shirt collar up here. Right, and this will be the last of the jacket. And we are unfortunately ending over here on the far side of the level. So thinking if I do the belt, I can then go up all the stripes of the shirt. Then the microphone can go down and back up to the middle, and that'll be less intrusive. Unless there'll be fewer jumps. So I'll go with the belt for now. I'll make the belt thinner because it's underneath the jacket. We'll go with 2.7. I can change these numbers if needed. We'll make it the lighter grey. Yeah, it doesn't matter where we start this particular one. There we go. There we go. Straighten up a little bit because it looks a bit weird. There we go. And now we'll get on to the actual stripes of the shirt. We'll go with 0.3. I will just pick this grey. I'll do... I want to make sure it's going underneath everything else. So just for speed of creating this level, I'm going to do all the grey stripes first, and then I'll do all the white stripes. And that's just so I don't have to colour pick each time. And the reason it's sort of jumping back and forth each time is because we have the grey going from right to left, then there'll be a route after, which will be the white going left to right. So then it'll zigzag back and forth as you create the level. So if it looks weird and you're wondering why I'm jumping and only doing single lines, it's because I'll add the white stripes in later. Just mean I will need to use this reordering tool on the right and just sort of think about, make sure I've got them all correct. But we'll notice any mistakes with that when we test the level as well. So part of the process when I'm making these levels is obviously I make the level in editor here, and then I'll play the level in the editor as well. And then if there's any obvious mistakes straight away, like if the level straight up's not possible to play, or if there is any things that I've missed that I noticed straight away that needs fixing, I will make those fixes before I push the level to the shared file system, and then someone else will play the level, either Rob or Jack or even Kai. I don't know if he's about today, but he often helps out quite a lot as well with the playtesting. And then any changes to be made gets pushed back on Trello for me to make those changes as well. Generally speaking, the person who's made the level shouldn't be the person testing it, because you just won't notice certain things that you should notice when it's a level you've made. But then at the same time, the person that's made the level will be the person that fixes the level as well, because they know the intricacies of the level and sort of what the design should be is also what they're thinking about as well. So there's a bit of back and forth in terms of the actual Trello process, but it's worked really well so far, especially if you have multiple people making levels, or if you have multiple people making levels as well. Getting a bit sort of distracting myself from what I'm saying there, because this bit's not going to look right. So I'm already aware I need to straighten up some of these lines here. I'll fix those pins in a moment, because those lines don't look straight anymore compared to the ones down here, especially this one as well. But this one with the mic shape changing, this line, these two need to be in line, these pins, because of the fact it's the bottom of this bit. But then the stripe is not lining up, so I think I'll need another pin potentially in here. And that's going to make it look weird. I'll give that a try. It's a straight line now. Let's move those little feather out to get a bit of a bend in the jacket. There we go. This line does not look right at all. There we go. That's looking a bit better. There we go. Not even done. Don't know why I stopped just to fix those. There we go. It's starting to look quite iconically like Rick Astley when we turn the trace off as well, which is always a good sign. It looks like what we want it to be. One of the things Rob quite enjoys is if we can make a level where you just got the pins and you can't tell what it is. It's quite tricky to do because it's much easier to sort of like just trace the shape, and then you can sort of see the shape when you're actually making the level, and before you make the level even. But if you're able to make a level where you can look at the pins and you can't really make out what you're meant to be making until you've done the level, it's something that Rob quite likes to be able to achieve, but yeah, I do find it quite difficult to do that, because again, even if we zoom out, toggle trace, turn off all the ropes, you can kind of still tell it's Rick Astley, you know. But there is an art to be able to do it without giving away what the level is straight away. Right. Another bit more line straightening for these last couple. There we go. Again, being a bit pedantic, deleting a pin just to get that 250 back, it makes no difference. I just want 250. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you don't know what the level is as well, like we've got the benefit today of knowing that this is Rick Astley before we even started the level, right? But if you can completely hide that from the player completely, then that's something we Rob especially likes to try and achieve. So I'll turn the trace off for this because we're just adding in the other colour of the shirt. Generally speaking, I avoid filling shapes as well, unless it's like a circle or quite geometric. Just because the fill can look really awkward if it's like a weird shape. But I was thinking there, what could have worked as well would be a crisscross of the white might work nicely to fill in the colour as well. But we would start encountering problems when we got up to the microphone stand. I think we'll stick with this for now. See if it looks good enough. And then we can possibly change that later if we think this doesn't look as good as it could. I think this is looking how I expected it so far. We'll get a better understanding when we actually play the level, because then we'll see the actual rope texture and stuff, and that'll help visualize the level properly. Another thing that I've noticed, still thinking about, but you'll notice some of these pins colours are changing when I press record route, and that's just sort of helping us. It's a guide. Each grey pin is a pin that already is the start of a route, which isn't vitally important to know, but it becomes really helpful when making routes like this, which sort of follows a pattern. If suddenly you have a pin that's white when all the rest are grey, you realise that the pattern's not quite being followed. Doesn't always work, doesn't always help. Sometimes you will still miss stuff, or make a mistake in the pattern, but the coloured pins do actually help regarding that. Yeah, I mean, again, it's not necessary at all. It's just a little nice to have that helps us to make sure any repeating patterns follow the same order, because it's another thing we try to do when we are, say, filling circles and doing repeating things. We like to make sure that those patterns follow the exact same order if possible, just because it makes it feel a bit better. Yeah, luckily this year so far it was a bit WooLoop heavy at the beginning of the year, but overall the WooLoop workload feels a bit more manageable, for want of a better word, because previous years when we were making WooLoop levels every month or every 2 months, it was quite busy. It would be like quite not mind-numbing, but like with the relaxing music of the game and the relaxing aspect of making the game, it was a case of like you can lose an entire day just making one level. Or some days you would get through 5 in a day, depending on what you're doing, right? So I'm glad that the pace has slowed down a bit. So what we need to do now, toggle or trace, maybe easier, is all of these routes need to be put in the correct order. So this one here is the last of the dark routes. These two, for example, and these are the last of the white routes. So we need to, I want to go dark stripe or white stripe, dark stripe, white stripe, all the way up the level. So I need to rearrange all of these. So it's a bit of a slog doing it because you can't just drag and drop them. That is one of the things we would like to change, but it's not pressing. We need to press these buttons to move it down or up. So it's quite time consuming. It's a bit tedious, for want of a better word, when it's a larger change, but it works. And it's one of those things, if it isn't broken, don't fix it, because it could, it'll save us 5 minutes in the future, but it could cause Rob hours of pain trying to implement the change. So it's not a high priority to fix this, especially since it's an internal tool. Just make sure we need these pairs together. But yeah, this isn't a flashy way to rearrange the routes, and it's also easy to lose them when they're all the same color as well. You can rename each route as you do it, which is a good practice. You really should be naming all the routes, but I don't, because it adds time to each step you're doing, especially if doing smaller routes. If you're doing a large route like the jacket, then I can kind of say the appeal, or not the appeal, but it doesn't feel like adding much to your workload by adding a name to the route. But for these smaller routes that are just 2 pins, adding a name to each one feels like a unnecessary addition. But if it was better on work, then I would add names to all the routes. Right now it's fine not having a name, but if we have to come back and fix a level, then since the process is, if there's a problem, I come back on level and I fix it. I already have in my mind what each thing is. But if we ever have to go back to fixing a DLC level from like 2 years ago, it's going to be a pain going through finding what route you need to change. So in reality, I should be naming all these routes, because again, if I fall ill and Rob has to fix a level, it'll be much easier for him to go, okay, that's clearly stripe 6. Or his shirt, because that's what was named. Yeah, in reality, I should be naming these. I just haven't. Maybe we'll try that with the next level, just to start a good habit. But then again, I know my next 2 levels aren't very descriptive. The sun just gone in. I don't know if you saw the colour change on the webcam there, but it's got much darker in the office because the sun just disappeared straight away. Is it the end of the world? I'm just pressing view. You can't really see when it's zoomed out too well. You kind of can't see, but it hides the route. I'm going to press view. I'm doing that to check if I'm still on the 2 route section yet, which I am still. These 2 need to be kept in pairs of 2s. yeah, adding notes and function names to your coding is really important, but it feels less important when you're the only person working on it, right? I dread to think how many spelling mistakes are in Rob's programming when he's creating functions and stuff, because no one else checks it. No one else has to. So if you hire a program in the future and tell them to fix coloring pixels, they're going to be getting lost in the spelling mistakes, I imagine. As long as you make the mistake all the way through, it's fine. And yeah, it's easy to misclick one of these buttons, and we likely won't see the mistake until we play the level. But that, again, that's how we play a test before I push, just to make sure if I have made one of these changes, that I can fix it before I push it. Because some of these, one of these routes not being in the right order will be a very easy thing to spot, and also a very easy thing to fix. So although theoretically I don't need to play a test level before I push it, I like to test each one just to make sure there's no silly mistakes. One of the common ones is as we're drawing a route with this like zigzag line, it's much easier to spot, but sometimes you might straight up miss a pin, and then the level's unplayable because you've got to get past a pin that's in the way. And if that's the case, then it sort of ruins the whole testing process, because you waste your time. You play a third of a level and the whole thing's not finishable, and so you can't play the rest of it. So it's like you've got to fix one thing for you to test the rest of the level, which is why I like to check them. I think this is the last of the double routes. It is. This is the tiny one. Yep. Yeah, typing fast, it's a blessing and a curse, isn't it? Gets you work done faster, but more prone to mistakes. Yeah, it's just sort of a bit of courtesy for the people testing the levels as well, right? You don't want them to waste their time, as well as wasting your own by not finding an easy mistake that you could have fixed. There we go. All those now in order, and then we finish up here at the top with the white stripe. So now, back to the rest of the level. Make this thin, 0.2. This is going to be the microphone stand. I'll make it. No, well, I was thinking they'd do it clockwise, because I could do that and do the old double side, but this lighter grey, I'm getting the impression is on top of the pole, so I won't. I'll just make them separate routes completely. I can't see underneath here. We'll get rid of that. Oops, I just totally missed the bottom pin. One design that I don't use quite often, something that I think Icy figured out early on, is that if you make the ropes really thin, you can sort of use the double route as two separate pins almost. It makes it look quite, because that's quite close together in the editor, but in the actual level they'll be on the other side of the pins, so it makes it look like quite a thin but like two-sided like rod, which can be used for like tennis rackets or whatever. That's quite a cool thing I like to use on occasion, but it only works when you have a level scale that fits. So this one's too large for that to be something we could use, I think. But it's a cool thing I like to implement now and again, if I can. Right, this will be 0.5. Is that spider paying a water bill, Rob? Using your shower? I can't start the route down here if I want this to be a single route, because I want it to go around the other side of this, like we spoke about at the very beginning. Now we can go down here. That looks weird. I don't like it. It is the stripes. So I think I'll fix that. I don't know how to fix it. Right, hold on. Delete all of that to there. Manage pins, grid snapping. Further down. That's part of the problem. Hmm. 2.5. There we go. Yeah, he's got a big gap in the stripes in his shirt there, but the only way I can make it work without making this microphone stand look weird. But that I think works a bit better. Because that'll be the same shape at the bottom here. Which was the issue. It's got a bit darker. So what I was doing there was measuring using these extra pins just to make sure that this shape is the same. When I'm saying that, I don't know if you're the same distance apart. Clearly you're not. There we go. Strange technique, but that's the way I do it. It's just use the pins themselves as actual guides to make sure everything is nicely lined up, and that should be a nice symmetrical shape. Continue the reason I want it to be symmetrical, it isn't vitally important, but it kind of is when it comes to getting nice repeating patterns. I think do that bit. No, it's gonna be awkward. Nope, I straight up missed a bit. Cool, that bit there. Do I want that as well? Or that's too much? That's too much. I think I want that bit. There we go. Bit of a fill in the microphone. white, a little bit of a raise. I'll do from this page because I have changed the color shape a little bit. Right, we'll make the face and the neck. I know the neck in this image is darker, but we aren't going to see much of the neck beyond, I think, one root. One root on each side. You know what? I will do darker for the neck. Just because there's two roots makes it a bit more worthwhile. Right. Now, because I want to do the hair and the skin on the same as this, I need to start up here. I'm going anti-clockwise. That means we'll end over here, which works nicely for repositioning the root for that. Oh no. So this is possible, I think. I'm saying that with confidence. Let me check. If we start at the ear and come down, because I forgot that the microphone blocks the face. Then if we go back on ourselves and then go around the hair, then to the microphone and then back on ourselves. That should work. There we go. That's where we end, right? Nope, we don't end there, we end there. And then I created these two neck roots side by side just so I could keep the colour easier, but this one needs to go after. And then all that's left is the hair, which I think will have to be two roots. On that. Yeah. The reason these be two roots is because they don't quite touch between those ears, so now I've noticed at some point I've gone over the pin count again. Maybe when I was fixing the microphone stand, trying to see where I can steal a pin. This one's a potential, but I think what I'm gonna do actually is move that up to keep that shape looking a bit nicer. That's a potential. Probably in the hair, to be fair. A lot of spare ones up here, right? This one, there we go. Cool, so now we have the level done, we'll turn the trace off. So we don't want the frame to be overly large. So 150 is obviously not quite centered either. We can use the frame offset to reposition. I think -10, try 130. 15, oops. There's a bit of trial and error getting this done. Rob normally does this as well, but I've got in the habit of doing it myself just to make sure that it's good. And we need to move up a little bit as well. Probably about 20. Surprisingly, out by 19 on both accounts. Just checking how close to the frame we are. That's good enough. And then the last thing we need to do, well, there's extra bits to do up here, like applying level names and stuff. I'll do that later. And last thing to do is apply a background. So we pick a colour. We like to go for pastelic backgrounds, ones that also don't clash with the image. But considering this music video already has a background, I'll try and stick to the same set of blue. I'll see how it goes. So we'll hit playtest. I'll press save first, actually. Also, in a sense, make the same work. And then we can play it in level using the playtest button. Now, playing in editor is not as smooth as playing the actual game. So, they expect to see some frame dropping, especially if there's any longer routes. It doesn't normally take this long either. I think it's because I'm streaming. The PC is having a bit of a struggle. So hopefully it's not horrible. But yeah, we'll play test the level and we'll look for any mistakes, and we'll get to see the actual result of the thickness of routes we've chosen and the height of ropes. The game applies a slight change to the colour in regards to when it's adding like the game lighting. So the colour you've chosen may not be exactly the same as what you want. Oh, there we go, already getting some frame drops. Come on, we can do it. It's not that long of a rope. But for me personally, that's not something I'm going to notice because I'm colourblind, so I just trust that the colour's good enough. And that's just something else that, as a company, we have to look out for when play testing. We have to check that the colour isn't just wildly inaccurate because of the fact of me having to trust in the actual colour picking solution in opposed to, you know, being able to properly see and judge the colour. So I can see a lot of colours, obviously, properly. I'm just not confident in doing so because I know that my vision isn't perfect when it comes to colours, so I just sort of trust the system and hope that works. But whenever it does, because it's not very often that becomes an issue. When it does, Rob just leaves a note saying this colour needs changing. I'll fix it myself because he's aware of the fact that it's too much of a hassle really for me to correct it properly. I have found a couple of solutions. Obviously colour picking works a lot, but it's not perfect. But if colour picking is not an option, I've literally got a search result or search history on Google of just googling hex code of sunset, hex code of like Rick Astley skin tone, that sort of stuff. And Google gives you some pretty accurate results regarding that. So and the Adobe Color Picker as well. You can put in a couple of colours and it gives you recommendations, which is quite good. Yeah, it looks very nice though, doesn't it? Context, my living room is all white furniture with like grey accents, so leads into the fact that I'm doesn't matter, if the colour won't be garish, it doesn't matter if I can't see it, if it's just grey and white anyway. That's the joke, isn't it? It's millennial grey. Every millennial just decorates their homes in shades of grey. The reality is, I think it's easier to match new furniture to it. But if you get like wooden accents, you've got to make sure it's the same type of wood or the same shade of wood, and if it doesn't, it looks a bit weird or it doesn't look as good. So, well, it has the potential to anyway. But if everything's shades of grey, white, and black, then It doesn't matter if it's a slightly different shade of black, it's still black. That's my theory on it anyway, as to why all the millennials like ourselves have changed home decorating to be boring and basic. You know what? I do think his hand's decent. It's not the greatest around the palm, but it still looks recognised to be a hand. His middle finger's a bit crushed as well. But I'm happy with it. Might be able to tweak it a little bit. But I've definitely done worse when it comes to hands. Exactly, there's a phrase, I think from watching City Skyline videos actually. It was one of the YouTubers that watch playing City Skylines quite a lot, is don't let perfect be the enemy of good, which I think is quite apt when making WooLoop levels as well. You could spend hours trying to fix one little thing and then you just end up making it worse because you've been looking at it too long. If it's good, then it doesn't need to be perfect. But at the same time, when it is perfect, it is a nice touch, isn't it? yeah, but both WooLoop and Hexseed have a very similar player count, just under 200,000 players, which is really good. More than I was expecting, to be fair. I think it goes to show as well, the year passes we'll be able to get in for Hexseed, which Steam don't allow anymore. I think it's greatly impacted the sales, because the sales for Hexseed are much higher than WooLoop. I know it's had a couple of extra years under a spell as well, but considering they both got similar play counts, more people have bought Hexseed than they have WooLoop. And I think a lot of that will be down to the little bundle you can get, the year bundles. It's just a shame Steam don't allow it anymore, because it is a system that can be abused by various devs who just want to trick players into buying what looks like a good deal. Or I think the reason for it is people creating year passes and bundles, they're not actually creating the content for them. I think that's the main reason why Steam stopped it. Classic case of this is why we can't have nice things. Touch wood. This route reordering so far has been pretty good. I managed to get them all in the right order and it feels exactly how I want it to. Going right to left and left to right again. We have sent off the store page for this DLC today. I created all the assets yesterday, sent the store page off today. And we do need screenshots before the store page can go live, and that's why I'm making these levels now. I've already shown off, we've got 2 levels made, this will be the 3rd. We want a minimum of 5 levels for the store page, so we can get 5 different screenshots for the store page. So that's why we're making these levels today, try and get that content ready for when Robert gets back, or when the store page gets back from Steam. I can get some screenshots. You found out you can send off a Steam store page, it only needs 1 screenshot, but from a from a marketing standpoint or from a good practice standpoint, 1 screenshot isn't enough to sell product. So we like to have 5 just because it fills up the page quite nicely. Obviously the more the better, but we don't want to spoil the whole pack, because 5 out of 21 pictures is already, a quarter of the content. But we want to show off more than just a single image for the store page, that's for sure. Yeah, stand by, these stripes at the top of your shirt aren't perfect. You've got a big gap here, but that's making up for the fact that the bottom of the microphone is in the way. We don't want that, and I made the choice that I don't want the bottom of the microphone to be wonky when the rest of it's uniform. And here's the result of the 2-sided rope from earlier. The result is quite nice. I think I might need to make the inner a bit thinner or the outside more thick, because we're getting this issue where the dark colour is poking out just because the rope's thicker. So I might need to make that a bit thicker, or change the width one way or the other just to make that work a bit better. I haven't seen any issues with rope height. So for example, this collar goes over the top of the jacket, which is correct. Haven't made any mistakes there yet. That's quite a common thing to miss when you're making the levels, because you can't really see the rope height correctly in editor. So far, touch wood, it's been accurate, and I haven't noticed anything that fixed either other than the actual thickness of the microphone. If you spot anything whilst you watch me play this or create this level, let me know. I might have missed something, by all means, so I can fix it before we send it off to Rob to curate this properly. Try to see if I can see his skin poking through the microphone there as well. Okay, you can a little bit. Yeah, again, I think it was Icy back in the day who created the first sort of meme WooLoop level. And that's sort of become a bit of a tradition. If we can fit a meme into a WooLoop world, then we do. I think it was Noah who suggested the. Correct me if I was wrong, Noah, but I think it was you that suggested the Vigasty level when I was asking about what music sheets I could use for musical notes and stuff. And I thought, well, even better than creating the music sheet for Never Gonna Give You Up, I'll just draw Rick Astley himself. And the more I think about it, I think the music sheet for Never Gonna Give You Up will probably be copyright anyway, so we probably couldn't use it. So it sort of works in both favours. There we go, look at that result. That's pretty decent if I do say so myself. Mating Penguin, yeah, was one of the people in the Patreon chat. His hands look a bit small, I will say, in terms of scale, but it's not something I'm going to try and play with too much. The reason I took a screenshot there is for the Trello board. Just when we're tracking the QA testing, we put a screenshot of the level on the board as well, just so it's easier to see what level's been. Like when you put your notes on the Trello board, it's easier to see what level you're working on. Where to put your notes. I'll also close that picture of Vigasty I've got open there. We're done. I will fix one thing with that level. I think it was the microphone stand. Make the thickness fit a bit better. I think that's... Camera slowly creeps upwards. Then we can save this and we can push it. I'll probably wait until after the stream to push everything though, just in case. So microphone stand was indeed that one. I think I'll just go max width, because it is. I like to use width as well for depth, and the microphone is closer to the camera than Rick Astley is, so it should be good. Let me check as well. That is height maximum, and his face. Move it down a little bit. I think I was clipping through a little bit, so fixing the thickness of the microphone might correct that problem anyway. But I think we're done with Rick Astley. Then the two I had prepared for today's stream do have another hour, so I'll make a start. I might not finish another level based on that one took like an hour. What was the actual size of that as well? Actually, the final size. That became a small level, which is good because I know the notes level is extra small. Again, there's nothing wrong with having an extra small level, but we don't want to make sure they're all that small. And the microphone level is small as well, so that's fine. As long as there's a variety throughout the whole, like small, medium, large, we'll be fine. So I'll show you the next two levels I had prepped to make. Won't be as interesting to create, but I started with Vigasty just to give you a bit more fun to watch whilst I was making it. But I'll show you what I've got. So I've got the music sheet for Beethoven Ode to Joy, which is again, public domain, so it's free to use. I'm literally going to be creating these notes, creating the music sheet. I'll probably add some colour because that's just going to be black and white. Maybe I'll do each note a different colour just to make it a bit more appealing. Or alternatively, we have an equalizer, which do that for that size. I don't know. Again, these trace sizes are a bit of an estimate. That's probably too small, but yeah, an equalizer. I trimmed it down. Yeah, that's too small. I trimmed it down quite a lot to make it not as boring to play, because I can imagine if it was like full bars of all the colours, it'll be quite repetitive. 50. Let me have a look. I thought it'll look quite visually appealing once it's done. Hopefully, anyway, that's the idea. Shall I let know which one you want me to do next? I was thinking with this one I can use the grid tool, which we haven't used yet. It might be interesting to see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So the grid tool we have. That's not 16, that's 10. There we go. So how many pins across and how many pins tall, and then we also have what's the width of those going to be. So I think the width needs to be 4 times that, so it'll be 20. Close. We'll do 22, 21. Perfect. And then we need height as well. So what's the tallest is this one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. This one. The height needs to be a bit higher than 5. Is it? Height looks about right actually. 1, 2. A little bit. It's a little bit off. It's like awkwardly off. Can I do like 5.5? Is that something that I can do? .7. I think that'll be good enough. It doesn't need to be perfect to match this. We can still work with it. What I was initially thinking for this level was similar to the Rick Astley hair, having the colours that share a pin, having like say the blue on this side and the red on that side or whatever. Then just doubling up, but instead of doing each individual square as its own route, doing each colour as its own route. See if I can make that work. Unless that'd be too boring. But now we need to remove all the pins we don't need, so close the grid tool so we don't accidentally create another grid. I'm not going to do these half transparent lines either because I don't know how I would do that unless I did just like a much thinner pin. We'll leave it for now. I can add them in later. I know I'm deleting pins that I'll be using, but using the grid snapping, I'll be able to make it work if I want to add them in later. But for now, I think I'll stick with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's correct. 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 together. For now, I'll stick with just the bold colours, and if I think the level's too small, I can add them in later. So I could do thick lines or thin lines to make it look like a transparent one, maybe. Or I could even do an actual cross to colour them in, then not colouring the ones above. The more I think about it, the more I think that's a nice idea. But I'll stick with this for now. And then we'll go from there. So this needs 3. That's fine, because I just need to wait from the 7. Small one. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's awkward because it kind of falls out of sync. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. But it's fine as long as we're counting this accurate enough. It doesn't need to be exactly like the reference. It'll just be easier if it is. Again, this one's smaller, so from the same height. And see if we're falling out of sync siders as well, but we'll make it work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Don't do that side. Do this side. Again, this one's smaller, so it doesn't matter for this purpose. This one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm gonna lose track here. I'm gonna go from this side. 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're the tallest one, so you're fine. And then 6, 10. Did this wrong? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 15, 16. Yeah, I've somehow got 15 instead of 16. Because I did 16 for the grid, when it should be 17. Because we have the outside. Maybe 17? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. by 18. We're going to go back to the grid and start again, because otherwise that's going to annoy me. 17. We'll go with 20 again. Yep, that matches much easier. And that lines up. Of course, there's a problem though, I had the pins wrong. Right. Since I've just deleted all the pins and I've come back to where I was, I think I will keep what I said last time. It's easier to track them now that I can actually see where I'm clicking. I will keep the thin lines as well, because I do like the idea now of the fill and the not fill section. Yeah, it just offers more creative freedom, so I'll give that a go. He says, but he hasn't done high enough. That's fine. If I make the grid snapping the same as the grid. Will it line up? Yes. That's not quite. Ah, offset. It is the right height, it needs to be offset by a little bit. What is that number going to be? I think it's 0.2. That looks right. Oh no, it's not right. And that's what it would look like if it was right. I've moved that pin. Oh, that's gonna be. See, it should look like that. Perfect circle, not off ever so slightly. Maybe you're right, I'll go up 0.5 in a minute, but we'll not skip over 0.4. Not too far now. It's the green stuff underneath. At what point? Wait a second, that's, of course, that one's not in the right place. At what point do we give up and just, that's 0.35, there we go. There we go. I was going to say, what point do we give up and just create the grid again? But I found it. There was you as well. There we go. Finally did it. Right. So I'm thinking with the fill and the not fill sections, I'll do all the fill. But I was going to do all the fill, then come back and do the not fill, but I think that might. It doesn't really matter, but I don't think it'll feel quite as nice playing it. So go new route, maximum width, nice and red. And then we go doosh, doosh, doosh. So, new route, same color, exact same color. Let's drop that to be darker. We'll make it 0.25. I've done that wrong. Yeah, that's right. 0.5. This color. Very much overthinking this, but I want to be able to do this level in as few routes as possible, just to try and make it as satisfying as possible. And I've realised there I'd missed the bottom line, which I then wouldn't be able to do when I came on the other side. I think. It's barely different, isn't it, in terms of colour? That's an example of missing a route. If I was to jump up there, you visually can't see that you've missed that. So you've got to pay attention really when you're... I've done this different to the previous one to make sure that's the same route, same pattern, sorry. Yeah, I'm glad that I went back and added in the extra bits. I think already that looks better. It looks a bit more like an equalizer already, right? So yeah, another reason I wanted to try and keep it as few routes as possible is because it's one of the feedback with one of the with the pixel levels, the like 16 by 16 and stuff. So that can be a bit frustrating to play. So we can be aware of that, right? We want to make sure the game is as good as possible. This much different to this? Yes, it's vastly different. That's fine. There you go, just more problems being colourment. Don't worry about it, I'm sure it's fine. Jump on the bottom again. We'll keep the pattern the same because I know it works. I did this, then this. Yeah, if you've got any more ideas for level, like possible levels, let me know. I've only made a decision on the first 5, but that still leaves 16 levels to make as well. You know, we like doing something fun now and again, like animals playing an instrument, something else, you know, like randomly got animals in some of the other packs. Oh, it's fine. I was going to say I can't go back up the left side here, but I don't need to. But maybe come later on, we'll see. What's the best way of doing this one then? Probably this way. Pattern's not exactly the same, but it should still work. Yeah, I'm liking this. Problem I'm thinking we're going to get is the level's leaning very heavily into being anti-clockwise. And it might be possible to do it in another way, but I just don't want to risk breaking the pattern. But I know that works. I'm going to go right here. Again, it's not following the same pattern, but consideration needs to be made for the fact that this one is shorter than the both of the roots beside it. There we go. Yeah, I think I'll just stick with the fact that we're going to have a lot of anti-clockwise. Otherwise, the pattern won't be the same. And that's something else that can be quite satisfying if it's done right. So, at least for the filled in sections, I want to make sure the pattern's the same. So one of the things, you either have a pattern that isn't broken at all, or you just straight up don't do a pattern, because if there's like half a pattern, then you stop doing it, people will notice. That's what I've generally kind of found. But yeah, looking at the time though, I think I'll wrap up with this colour, no pun intended, and then maybe we'll do match a Scribblio if anyone's interested in that. I know I wasn't sure if it would work this week since we have both Jack and Rob not in the office, but I can set up the server after this colour, give you guys time to join if he's interested. Distracted there because now we have an issue where I can't do this side of that. That's fine, we'll just have to take a liberty of doing it as a separate route. Yeah, with the guys not being in the office, I wasn't sure if it would work, but I can always set up the server. Oh yeah, Rock Game. I'll play Rock Game whilst I wait for that as well. Turn that down a bit. I'll finish this colour, I'll set up a server, give you guys time to join, and then whilst you guys are joining or not joining, I'll play some Rock Game. Hello, Unchu Studios. This is WooLoop, which is a cozy, just a WooLoop, like a wool wrap, string wrap game. So it's just about creating artwork using string and rope. This is the editor, so it doesn't look quite as pretty as it does, but let me check this still work. You check out the store page and have a look at the trailer and have a good look what the game actually looks like. But yeah, it's just a cozy, relaxing string art game where you wrap string around pins to make art pieces. So we'll close this so we can save it. You can't save it whilst the editor's open yet. Mute site. Yes, I'll set a Scribblio server. I'll drop in the Discord as well. And then I'll try and download Rob's version of Pet Rock game. I was trying for the download button there, couldn't find it. That was dumb. Yeah, no, that's fine. No, that's totally fine. It's just people, do you want to join? And if no one joins, that's not a problem either. We can just see what Bob's been doing with these pet rocks. Oop, where's my phone? I've got to authenticate my login to Dropbox. Give me a second. I probably don't need to log in, but I've gone down the route of doing it now. May as well. Excuse me. Okay, there we go. Download begin. Just extracting the game. There we go. I assume we just run the pet rocks or rockpets.exe. There we go. Look at this. Absolute. Again, it's designed to be something for the corner of your screen, right? So we'll zoom in. Put chat and my camera over it. There we go. Professional. There we go. So yeah, pet rock. Wow, good rock. This looks like a rock out of which Pokemon game was it? Where you like had that underground system, the mini game, and you like chiseled rocks out the wall. Couldn't have sent one of those rocks out of that game. Cookie Monster. There we go. Cookie. So these are timers, right? 18 hours or whatever those numbers mean. Oh, there we go. Cookies on the shelf. That looks great. I like that the name's there too. Nice. Oh, look at all these rocks though. Recognise Jack's tooth rock from last time. Oh, got the shelf. Nothing in the settings yet. Pebble Mart. I don't know what that word means, but I clicked it. Oh. I'll use paper. Yep, I can now play rockets in the shop, that's fine. Stuff. Got 10 money now, nice. I still put the count on it, just the button took the same point, it's fine. I know Rockstar's a new game I want me to play, but I'm going to play these other games first. There we go. Got to mash it loads of times. Does it get faster each click, or is it faster each that's over a period of time? Because each click would be easy to test. I do see the white getting further along each time. Oh, if I mash the click each time for don't blink, I will get a first score. That's boring. You have to probably got to mash, otherwise you're meant to lose, but I didn't see. I lost. Pebble Pie. Was this the last time as well? Yes, it was. What I was thinking last time when Jack was playing this is we 100% need the Hellbomb quote from Helldivers, and then get a little like Helldivers reference pop up at the top, just because that'd be fun. Locked in. Yeah, played it yesterday. Oof, that's getting close. It's at the time where one mistake will be enough. Oh, that's too close. No! There we go. Bit of happiness. A lot of coins. Nice. And then what Rob has been waiting for. Bit more rocket says. Let him win this time. So, is there a way you could, like, I'm moving it off the screen, but is there a way you could, like, program it to be, like, in the corner of your game, in the corner of your screen while she's doing stuff, and it, like, it will stay focused without, so you can see the little rock dancing about and whatnot. What's the controls for Rockstar? Arrow keys, okay. We'll pretend the music's in the game. What the hell? I pressed it. I'm gonna restart the game because that was so I'll press that. What a nice rock. But I think there's so many easy wins, like these are customizable, putting eyes on and stuff. That's fantastic. We should like unlock more versions of these eyes and stuff, right? Like, not bubbles, but I didn't even notice that. No, you're right. Yeah, let's try Rockstar again because I got con last time. So I have to press it when it's exactly over the arrow. Or I shouldn't be anywhere within the box. Nope, that was a no. Yeah, it seems pretty. I mean, you can mash it, which you shouldn't be able to do. But like, it feels like it has to be pretty accurate. There's no like forgiving. There's not much forgiving anyway, if you're early. And we need some sort of music in here. I don't know if there is, but I'm just playing to the Sky City music. Easy game. No, not an easy game. Yeah, you haven't put in a fail for pressing the button when you shouldn't. So it's easy. Getting faster though. I think it's the bar at the top. You've got a little. Every time you miss one, the bar at the top goes down. And if it goes into the red, I think that's when you lose. You do lose the streak. I've lost it there, right? It's gone down at 4, but you don't lose the game for losing your streak, which is nice. Let me try and not cheat. I feel like the window for getting it right is very unforgiving, but the game's been implemented and it works and it's fun. There we go. Unfortunately, The shelf is there, but you can't have more than one thing on the shelf at the minute, right? This blue because he's extra happy. That's nice. Is he unhappy if he loses? I don't know. It was a draw. I picked paper, didn't I? Did I misclick? I could have swapped paper. Maybe I didn't. Yeah, I thought so. I said draw. Alright. Fair enough. Good progress though. Just checking if everyone's trying to scribble. 3 of us should be enough to play. Want to do a quick match? We've got 5 minutes. We'll leave them up in the background. I'm zoomed in. I'll leave it zoomed in because I can just switch back to the. Actually, no, I won't zoom it in. I will fix that. Boom. There we go. That's a good point. Can I just cheat the system? Like we do with checking if the Christmas event works. Here goes first. Hi, bird. Hope he's still available. Hi, bird. Not gone AWOL whilst we were feeding rocks. But we'll see what a real player looks like, not some professional artist. The screen's still huge. Hold it on here. There we go. You're pointing to the corner. 24. Rob's also not guessing, so I'll get all the time I need, but. Whoa, is the word bold? Rude. Bold. I think Rob should be there. Yes, it goes backwards. Does. Gosh, I can't make it bigger. I was going to see if I could cover all the words that, but it won't really work with it. Tricky ones as well. Didn't get finished on my stop sign. Shame we don't get to see me drawing, is it? You just have to wait until I finish drawing because of the images. Also, I'm not screen snapping up and hyper doing I'm guessing the right words. Well, you've both guessed before me the past 2 times, but that's not the point. Mr. Blobby? Fed the sloth, but it doesn't fit any 3. Nice edge. You're right. Last one of the season. Oh no. Hope you didn't look at that. Suspicious. Suspicious. Just shows what I can do. A bit late, but I can do this. That will hide my word at the top of the screen. I have to do that. I can hide the advert at the bottom of the screen. When I'm making my drawings, that way you guys can watch without spoiling the word. There's 9 letters. And it's an easy one. Could be Minecraft. Could be Minecraft. Hmm. 8 letters as well. No, if you're I don't know hiding how many letters there is. I'm guessing a bunch of 7-letter words, not 8-letter words. Where Jack is. We should have drawn. Should have drawn Jack dancing. Now, I'll guess my word over here. And then if I do it quickly, oh, there you go. You don't see what my word is, but you can see me drawing. This is so dumb. That was a long call. And hybrid wins. Well done. Shame I didn't realise by hiding the word until the very end, so you could watch me as I drew. But there we go. Thank you for playing along. Thank you, Rob, for the rock game. Hope you also enjoyed seeing a bit behind the scenes of WooLoop. As Hyperthird hasn't really changed since back in the day. but it's still. Yeah, Sid the Sloth is very good for Ice Age as well. I was like, it's Sid, but I don't know what the next word is. Yeah, hope you enjoyed seeing a bit behind the scenes of Hybrid, not Hybrid, Noah. Hope you enjoyed it as well, Hybrid, but I know you've seen it before. But yeah, thank you very much for stopping by for the stream today. Back to our usual scheduling in 2 weeks' time. Jack should be back hopefully with some more interesting stuff to watch. And yeah, we will see you next week on the blog and 2 weeks' time on the next week's stream. So thanks again for stopping by, and we will catch you next time.